Originality is the biggest myth in creativity. Every artist, every writer, every creator you admire is a beautiful blend of influences of minds that came before them. Today, I'm breaking down the method of Steal Like an Artist, which a lot of artists believe is the Bible of creativity. And it's the book by Austin Kleon, and here's the playbook. This video is for any kind of artist in any kind of medium. I've used these techniques for painting, for songwriting, for poetry, for so many different things, for jewelry, and I guarantee that this is going to be your gospel too. So stick to the end because you're leaving with the complete playbook of how to steal like an artist. Hi, I'm Danny and I'm a multi-passionate creative, small business owner. I paint, I make jewelry, I've written books, and I created this channel to talk about creativity, creative business, and all of the things that I'm passionate about. I guarantee that after this video, you're going to be remixing and stealing ideas like a pro. So the basis of this book is that no idea is original. There is no original idea because every idea is based on a previous idea, on a different set of ideas. You don't create from emptiness, you create from a beautiful library of ideas, of aesthetics, of art that you have seen that lives inside a library in your mind. So your mind is this huge library of incredible influences. We are absorbing our environment, the creativity that exists in our environment all the time. Our minds absorb that all, and it's becoming a part of that beautiful museum and library that lives in your head, that lives in your mind. These are your resources to create beautiful art. So it's all about collecting all of these ideas and mixing them together. Just like a DJ, we know a lot of DJs that they remix songs that are old songs and they create something so new and so interesting with those songs. And so this is the same kind of idea. You're going to collect all of your favorite artists and influences, aesthetics, and you're going to transform it into a hybrid, into something new, into a new baby, a new seed. And Austin Kleon, he talks about that. Example, your parents, one woman, one man, together, a baby, something completely different that formed from those two different influences, those two different people. So it's the same thing with Steal Like an Artist. It's the same thing when you remix an idea. So Austin Kleon, he leads you into discovering who is your creative family tree. Who are the influences? Who are your favorite artists? You can do a brain dump of all of your favorite artists, the people that have most touched your soul. Can be a singer, it can be Bob Dylan with his beautiful lyrics, and can be your favorite artist, can be Van Gogh or Monet. You just put down all of your favorite influences, and this can be even in mediums that you are not usually working with. So even if you are a painter, you can work with writers. You can use Hemingway and Anais Nin as an influence because you can capture that feeling into your paintings. And the same thing if you're a writer, you can use different imagery to be able to create that fantasy world or that world that you are building. So build your family tree of all of the thinkers, all of the philosophers, all of the artists that have deeply touched you, that had made you feel the chills, that had made you feel the thrills, and just write everything down, brain dump it all, and create that family tree. And this is really important because this creative lineage that you have, this family tree, this is going to become your aesthetic. This is going to become your style, your voice. And so let's see where your voice wants to naturally go. So Austin Kleon, he talks about following your curiosity. Another famous person has mentioned that too, Steve Jobs. Follow your creativity, follow your curiosity. Ah, Cookie. And this is Cookie. She just wants to say hi. Hi. So your best ideas rarely come from trying to be original. Your best ideas, they come from play, experimentation, having fun, not being in your head, being in the right hemisphere of your brain, which is not analytical, not forcing things, not structuring. It's the play mode of your brain. So your real work often emerges from being in that play state. That's where you're going to get your breakthroughs. And that's exactly what happened to me. I had to play with different pigments of rocks, with different inks of flowers that I was making in my home. I was just playing with these paints that I was making at home and creating these experiments. And that's how I found my creative style in painting. With writing, for me, it was combining the philosophy, all of the philosophical texts that my dad used to make me read when we would go to his philosophy groups, together with The Little Prince and children's stories that were very, very deep. I wanted to write these deep children's stories. And the same thing with my jewelry. My jewelry was a remix of wanting to do beautiful jewelry that was used in yoga and meditation and mysticism, things that I enjoy, but with a witchy style Vogue way. So I've always been remixing things, and that's how you find your style. You're remixing, you're taking all of these influences and making them yours by playing, by just having fun. When I sit down with my beads and my jewelry, I've got my music on and I just start playing with the beads and doing different patterns. I love to do different patterns. The same thing with different kinds of mediums that I work with music, with poetry. I just love to have fun. I'm not judging if that is going to be the work of art, the voice of my time or anything. No, I'm just playing. I'm just having fun like a little child. So just mess around, just have fun with your mediums, with your whatever you're doing with writing. Just write those thoughts that sometimes they're in your head at night when you have trouble sleeping, and then, see a way that maybe it can become maybe more poetic, like maybe a poem. Just start mixing things around and making a mess. So Kleon talks about separating the artist and the editor. And so just like artists who love to do that kind of stream of consciousness writing where you just empty your brain, you just empty your mind of all of the contents that are inside your mind, inside of your brain, and you just write automatically. And then after, you can look and see the things that are there, the patterns, the beautiful words that have emerged or ideas, and you can start editing it after. So first, just make that mess, just start putting everything down and playing and being spontaneous, and then after you edit. So another thing that Austin Kleon talks about is about using both analog and digital tools. So, cookie. So analog are the old school paper pieces, hands, physical tools, writing with the pen, so writing with your favorite pen, which taps into intuition and authenticity. So digital is everything that is digital. I don't have to really explain that, do I? But these digital tools, they expand possibilities, they make things faster, connection, speed, you can quickly distribute your art. So learn how to use both. Both are useful, and I do this a lot sometimes to get ideas for my paintings. I get beautiful photos of cottagecore, friends of mine who make beautiful cottagecore photography, and then I put them in this app called Pixlr, and I remix it with a double exposure of different colors of abstract art and different things, and I create this play environment in my phone that I can see how I can get ideas for sources for paintings. And you can do that in so many different ways, mixing digital and analog. So just have fun. Another important lesson I learned from Still Like an Artist is create in private, share in public. So I've talked about this in plenty of my old videos. Not everything that you're working on is worth to be shown at that moment. While it's forming, while you are birthing it, while you are nurturing those seeds, protect that. Protect the early seed of an idea. I don't know how many countless times I've shared ideas with people and they're like, oh, this idea is terrible, you shouldn't do that. And thank God I didn't listen to them, but I know so many people that they do listen to bad advice, to people saying don't do that. And your play, your creative play, that is so sacred to you. Not everybody needs to know what you're doing. That is your secret garden. That is your intimate, beautiful, private moments of being in tune to the creator, to the creative aspect of everything that exists, of the universe, of God, of that's that creative frequency flooding into your body. That it's precious. It is so important to keep that protected, to be able to be devoted to that, to be able to create as an act of devotion. So do that in private, just like when you're praying alone. Do that in private, keep it sacred, and share it once it's ready, once it's ripe, once it's ready to be shown and shared and given to others. Give that gift to others when it's ready. And so another concept that is shared in this book is that we no longer need to be in a creative city. We no longer depend on geography to be creative, because there was a time where maybe the salons in Paris were the ultimate place to be creative and to come up with innovative ideas. I've covered that also in another video of mine about how Hemingway, Picasso, and Matisse, they were all going to Gertrude Stein's salon that is no longer the case. Now we have the world here in our computers, on our phones, that we can interact with different beautiful creative minds. We can be inspired by others this way. And isn't that a blessing? So your physical location is no longer your creative fate. Another thought covered in this book: be boring to be brilliant. Creativity needs structure. Creativity needs systems. And there's another author that talks about this a lot, Steven Pressfield. You need to show up every day, have your little disciplined, scheduled moment of the day where you show up for creativity to be able to happen. So you need to be boring. You cannot just be once in a while an artist. Maybe you can if you want it to be a hobby, but if you want to be a thriving professional artist, then you have to have a schedule, have discipline, be boring, and treat it as a professional job. Treat it as your profession, your vocation. So repetition, routines, they actually create magic for the creativity, for the chaos to appear. And another important thing that Austin Kleon covers in this book that I can completely relate to is that you don't have to quit your 9-to-5 to be an artist. When I first started my jewelry brand, I was teaching English. I was doing private English classes in different courses. I was doing translations. I was also doing art classes. So I didn't quit that until I started to actually make money from my creativity. When it came to the point that I was actually making quite more money from just being at home and working on my jewelry instead of going every day to my day job at the time, then I could do my art without having to stress about money and my finances. So keep a stable foundation. You don't have to quit everything. You don't have to quit your 9-to-5. You can even find a part-time job that supports your life as an artist. Elizabeth Gilbert talks about that a lot. She used to do waitressing. She used to do all kinds of different jobs so that she could be the writer that she wanted to be without having to put that pressure into her hobby, into her passion of being a writer. So she was waitressing while she would write. And a lot of artists, they talk about this. There was the writer Bukowski who had his 9-to-5. Many artists had a 9-to-5 or a stable income, and they were doing their art while they had that stability, that 9-to-5. So don't add stress into your life by quitting everything so that you can become an artist. Because art, it takes a while to bloom. Maybe there's unicorns out there. I'm sure there are. But in my case, it did take a while to bloom, and I see that most artists that I know, it takes a while to bloom. So keep your 9-to-5 as you're building your art. Think of it as a business, a side hustle in the beginning that one day is going to be the foundation of your stability. And then the last thing that Austin Kleon covers in his book is that creativity thrives on subtraction. Again, another thinker talked about that too, Steve Jobs, who was really into aesthetics and typography. He did calligraphy classes. So think of how you can subtract. Simple is the hardest kind of work to do. It's really hard to just be simple and knowing what those simple tools that you need that are your basics. I have mine when it comes to painting. I have my basic materials. I always work with pastel flower. It's the flower here from the south of France that grows because I love the ink. I love the way that the blues, they can go from dark blue to light blue. What are your basics? How can you make it simple? How can you refine it? How can you polish it so that you subtract and take out all that is not needed? I know that there is a quote by Michelangelo that they asked, oh, how were you able to sculpt David? I'm probably killing the quote, but how were you able to sculpt David? And he replied, I just took away everything that wasn't David of his beautiful David statue. So I probably killed the quote, but I'm paraphrasing it so you can understand. It was all about taking away of refining it so that it was just one block of marble that he turned into this beautiful, fascinating sculpture that made me want to cry when I first saw it in Florence. So think about how you can simplify your work. And I have a theory. I think that we're actually wired to aesthetically love simplicity. That's my theory. So I hope this video finds you well. If you enjoyed it, I would love to ask you to hit like and subscribe and share with other artists in your life, because this is a small channel. I just began this year to create content for YouTube, to show my content creator side, because I always wanted to do this. And this to me is child's play. And I would also love to invite you to my free masterclass on unblocking your creativity. I heard really good things about it. I'm very proud of it. So I will link it in the comments. And let me know in the comments if you have read Still Like an Artist, what kind of artist you are, how do you remix your ideas. I answer to all of the comments on my comment section and would love to hear from you. So see you in the next video. Ciao!